Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Tuesday, March 19th, 2019. We're going to go over today's NBA and NHL action. We'll also take a peek at the NCAA games going on today. But, of course, we'll start with a little bit of review. And, unfortunately, the 4 games that I really liked yesterday, only one of them went the way I expected, which is super disappointing, but it is what it is. So let's go back and take a peek at these games from yesterday. By the way, Mike Trout, his record deal, his full name equals 224 with the alphabetic order, 224. Today's 224 days after his birthday. Let's see. So we talked about how the Cavs did have a shot to beat the Pistons. That game, that narrative was either way, so it was tough to make any type of call on it. Cleveland Cavaliers equals 318, 318. They got the win on March 18th. So if I trusted the Cavs more, I would have went that way, but to me, it was just better to just stay away. We saw a little narrative for the Pistons, as we discussed. On the surface, it made a lot of sense for the Jazz to beat the Wizards. The Wizards would fall to 22-14 at home. Utah equals 22-14. Typically, when a game lines up that way, it does go that way. And in this case, it did go that way. Glitch in Your Matrix, who does great work, he saw a deeper riddle with why he thought the Wizards might win on this day. And the last time I doubted him, I was wrong. So I was hesitant this time. I was thinking, there's that riddle I always follow. Otherwise, I would have been gung-ho on this Jazz game, but the Jazz did get it done this time. Nuggets, Celtics. There wasn't a lot to go off of for this game yesterday, as I pointed out. The only thing I saw is the Nuggets' next win was 47, and if they would have lost in this game, they could have got that in Washington, D.C., which is the land of 47. Instead, they're going to go into Washington with 47 wins. And sometimes that's the way it is. What I pointed out about the other thing that I saw was that the last game between these teams, the Nuggets won, and it was 133 days earlier. And Colorado equals 133 and 43, and they did keep the Celtics at 43 wins. So I guess that was the Colorado riddle. That is what it was spelling out. 133 days later, keeping them at 43. That's the Colorado Gematria. So I was thinking the Celtics need that win, though, for the symbolism of it, winning a big game down the stretch against one of the NBA's top teams. Knicks, Raptors. Raptors looked like they were good to go. There wasn't any riddle on the board for the Knicks. It wasn't a good payout, though. I mean, they were like 11.5-point favorite, if I remember right. Notice the Raptors won by 36. The big number in Toronto, 36. 36-point win in Toronto. This is the game that really burned me yesterday. Thunder could have got the 24th win on the 24-date numerology. Thunder could have got the 43rd win. Miami Heat equals 43. We've seen them giving out that number. So this is the game that perplexes me. Yeah, I don't even know what to well, the one thing that there was for the Heat that we did talk about is they could stay on 36 losses, and Thunder does equal 36. So, I mean, they did have a little riddle on the board. That was the one thing they had going, was staying on 36 losses. But with the date numerology and the right opponent name for the win, and in light of how many times we've seen 43 connect to the Heat, I am surprised about that one still. Warriors and Spurs. Glitch in Your Matrix, he did like the Spurs for the same reason that he liked the Wizards. Unfortunately, the Wizards riddle didn't hit. The thing the Spurs had going was, with a win here, their next game lines up too, as we talked about. The Warriors, the riddle that they had for the potential win was staying on 21 losses. Spurs is 21, and they could have got their 24th away win on the 24 date. But there was the riddle for the Spurs, so they got it done. Had the Spurs lost, they would have stayed on 41 wins. Golden State's 41, so is San Antonio. That could have happened too. So this was a tight riddle. Spurs pulled it out. Pelicans, Mavericks. This game, we talked about how the Pelicans could get the 13th win. So this actually was, I guess, I guess this makes the day not quite as awful because we did see that Pelicans getting that 13th win in Dallas. That made some sense. That came through. Dallas and 13, it's always a big number. And then that made some sense for the games down the road with these teams. The Bulls-Suns game was iffy because Phoenix Suns equals 52. Bulls could stay at 52. They could have also picked up their 26th away loss. Phoenix and Suns both equal 26. Thus how it equals 52. So... And one of the games that I felt real good about in the NBA last night was the Blazers beating the Pacers, and they did. They got the 26th home win. Pacers is 26. They kept the Pacers at 44 wins. Portland's 44. Rip City's 44, and that sends the Pacers into their next game against the Clippers with 44 wins, and Clippers is 44. So I guess in the I put out what? I put out 3 picks in the NBA. Well, I said you could take the Raptors as a multiplier. But the games that I said I would bet on was Thunder to win. I said you might take the Pelicans to beat the Mavericks and the Blazers to beat the Pacers. So definitely not great. You can't give yourself any points for the Raptors beating the Knicks at home. But if the Thunder game hadn't gone sideways, it wouldn't have been a bad day in the NBA. But the Thunder game just disappoints me. That was supposed to be a good read. I hate when I give out a team that I think is a good read and it doesn't hit. Okay, and then in the NHL, the upset didn't come through, and neither did the Blackhawks. So the Coyotes, I thought that they would lose this game in overtime if they lost in a shootout, possibly get the upset here, even though they're going up against one of the league's best teams, because Tampa Bay Lightning equals 80. They could have got the 80th points. Had they lost in overtime, they'd be at 79 points, and Tampa Bay's 79. And we've seen a lot of these upsets, unlikely upsets, pulling through when the numbers are there. A lot more often than not. In this case, it didn't happen, which again is disappointing. But that was the thought. Blackhawks and Canucks, they were playing on a date with 33 numerology. Blackhawks could have got the 33rd win. Canucks could have got the 33rd loss. Plus, Chicago Blackhawks is 137, the 33rd prime. I see the Blackhawks got their 74th points on the 33-date numerology. I guess there's kind of a 74-33 riddle there, but I was thinking those 33s would land. The date numerology, the right team. So, you know, that one surprises me too. Jets and Kings was a stay-away game to me. Golden Knights, they had a good reason to win, or worst case scenario, lose in overtime. And the reason why is because Sharks equals 41, so they got the 41st win. If they had lost in overtime, they'd be at 86 points. Sharks equals 86. So, you should have won on that bet as well. This was a game that I advised. I said I would take the puck line for the Golden Knights because if they win, you win. If they lose on the puck line, you still win. So, anyway, pretty mediocre day. And I was thinking this was going to be a good day. It gives me deja vu of last week when there were some good NHL reads too that didn't hit. And I mean, I still look at these as good reads. They just didn't come through. So, the Golden Knights game came through, but these two not hitting, that hurt. So, anyway, that was yesterday. Some days are that way. Let's go back and let's go through today's games. And just again, as a reminder, tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern, I'm going to do it an hour earlier. We're going to be doing the live stream of the NCAA. And I'm trying to go through real thorough all of the matchups. We'll see what happens with the first 4 games tonight. I put out some advice on what I thought about those yesterday in the live stream we did. But it'll be helpful once those games are over, just to see if we can get some early riddles for numbers that might play or might not play in this tournament. But if you guys want to take any calls, if you guys have any calls about the tournament that you're trying to do earlier into the day, it's fine to phone in and ask. But again, we are going to be doing that tonight. For now, I would like to move through today's games and then see if we can find some gems here. So, '76ers and Hornets. 76ers and Hornets. The date numerology for today. It's the 155th day of the NBA season. The date numerology that really matters, 25, 34, and 61. 61 is the 18th prime, so if we see an 18, that counts. The lesser numerology is 41, which is the 13th prime. It could be relevant. It is the 19th of the month, which is the 8th prime, something to keep in mind. It's also the 78th day of the year, leaving 287 days. Just scan teams that are playing real quick. 76ers, Warriors. Watch this Warriors game very carefully. There could be an NBA Finals riddle in this game, just because Finals is 61 and NBA Finals is 78. 78th day of the year was 61 numerology. So let me see something real quick. I think it was the BBA back then. Chicago Sticks, that's right. Okay. I couldn't remember if the Minnesota team was involved in the first ever basketball championship. I knew Philadelphia was. Minnesota was the next year. Okay, 76ers and Hornets. So I see right away that Charlotte could get their 39th loss at home. Charlotte's 39. 76ers could stay on 25 losses on the 25 date. They could also get their 18th win. Again, it's 61 date numerology, the 18th prime. Let's see here. All right, let's see this conference standings real quick. Charlotte going for its 25th conference win. Philadelphia going for 27 or 17. Okay. 76ers, Hornets head to head. It's the 108th game of the regular season. 108, our big geometry number. Philadelphia at 49. Charlotte at 58. The first riddle that comes to my mind just looking at those numbers is just that Revelation has that gematria of 49 and 59. Of course, Philadelphia named in Revelation. Philadelphia swept Charlotte this year. The last game in Charlotte went to overtime, 122-119. November 7th. Man, they played all their games early in the year. It's interesting. Let's see. How many days is it from the last game? $122 days, and that's how many points they won that last game with. 122. Now they play 122 days later. Huh. The over-under right at 223. Philadelphia 223. Let's see who the 76ers play next. The Celtics next. And then the Hawks. Just trying to think about their schedule down the road here. What could make sense? So if the 76ers were to win this game, they could very well get their 26th loss against the Celtics. Celtics like to dish out that 26. Hawks do have the 26 connection as well. In light of the date numerology connection to 18 in Philadelphia having the 61 in its own name, I'm thinking that 18th win is likely. The 39th loss in Charlotte makes a bit of sense. I'm just thinking it makes more sense also for the 76ers to get their 26th loss against the Celtics than it does the Hornets, because the Hornets don't have a connection to that number. Let's see who the Hornets play. Hornets. They got the Timberwolves. Well, here's an argument for the Hornets. If they won, they'd stay at 38 losses, and Minnesota does have the 38 connection as well. Minnesota's 38, and the Hornets play the Celtics. Rob, I just saw your comment. I will look into it. I did not know about the Virginia bus crash, but great heads up. That's often how they drop these riddles around tournament time. Train crash, bus crash, stories like this. Okay. Funny how it works out that way. All right, so the Hornets do have one argument that they could go into that Minnesota game with 38 losses. You know what? The name 76ers has the connection to 39 too. I'm going to say I favor Philadelphia here, just because I'm 26 in the Celtics. And again, that 18th win goes with the date numerology. So, and the 39th loss could make sense in Charlotte against the 76ers as well. So the 76ers to me have the better riddle there, but it is a tight game. It's the kind of game where if it went the other way, I'd say, well, I did see the other potential narrative on the board, but I do think it's still better for the 76ers. Rockets and Hawks. Atlanta's 48. That's the first thing jumping out here. Hawks get their 48th loss in Atlanta. Rockets are at 18 away wins. The narrative that goes against the Rockets is Hawks equals 17, Atlanta, Georgia equals 59, the 17th prime. So there is a possibility of an upset here. The Hawks do have that strong connection to 17. $154th game. Rockets at 77 wins. That means they could get their 78th today on the 78th day of the year. The Rockets could. Today's the 78th day of the year. The Hawks are at 76. What's interesting is Houston has that 77 connection. So if it was a tie series, it would be at 77. Hawks. And a Hawks is 76. They're at 76 wins right now. They play earlier this year. Okay, so they just played on the 25th. Rockets won by 8 in Houston. Interesting that Atlanta's an 8-point favorite. So this game was on the 46th, no, the 56th day of the year. So it was 22 days ago. 22 days ago. Hawks could get the 22nd loss 22 days later at home. Houston Rockets have that 59 connection too, like Atlanta, Georgia. Let's see who they play next. Let's see who they play next. Memphis Grizzlies. Grizzlies has the 59 connection as well. Grizzlies is 59. Let's look at that real quick. Another potential 17 there on the board. Memphis Grizzlies, 97. Memphis. Let's see who the Hawks play next. Hawks play the Jazz next. Game's at home too. Huh. Notice that the Hawks' next game's at home against Utah. We just saw this combo, the 14 and 22 with the home record with the Wizards with Utah. Same thing can happen here with the Hawks being 14 and 22 at home after facing Utah. Shoot. I'm missing something here. You know what I'm not talking about is the 25. There is a 25 right on the board. The Hawks could get their 25th win on the 25 date. So the narrative against the Rockets is getting the 17th loss against the Hawks. Hawks is 17. Atlanta, Georgia is 59, the 17th prime. That would send the Rockets into their next game against Memphis with 17 away losses. Grizzlies is 59, the 17th prime. And then the Hawks would get their 25th win on the 25 day. And that would set them up for a loss in the next game against Utah. They'd have 14 wins. Could very well get that 22nd loss against Utah. Utah 14 and 22. So I might take the points here with the Hawks. I mean, there's a narrative for an upset. It's there. And your strategy could be, well, if the Hawks lose tonight, if you took the risk and let's just say the Hawks didn't cover, or you lost the bet, I think you'd have a good shot at them getting it back against Utah, where they should also be a significant underdog. So, but Hawks do have numbers to win tonight. Absolutely, they got the date numerology, and the Rockets got the potential loss total for the opponent. Okay, Lakers and Bucks. Los Angeles is 53. We talked about this. If the Bucks lost the last game, they'd be in perfect shape to beat Los Angeles. Los Angeles 53. So, just seeing if there's anything else on the board here. They'd stay at 31 wins against the Bucks. 31's the 11th prime. Something tells me the Lakers are going to finish with 35 wins, the King James number. That's how many games he won in his first season with the Cavs. And I think the Lakers won 35 games last year, too. $136th game. That's the 16th triangular. Bucks going for their 55th win. Wisconsin's 55. So is Los Angeles. There are 16 in this game. Let's just see who the next game is against. Bucks got the Cavs next. They got the Heat. Let's see the Lakers schedule. Lakers got the Nets next, and then the Kings. If the Lakers lose this game and lose to Brooklyn, if Brooklyn comes into and beats them, remember Brooklyn's 41 like LA. Give them their 41st loss. But yeah, I got to go with the Bucks. We talked about this before this even happened. Los Angeles 53. Okay, Warriors, Timberwolves. I'm scanning here, seeing if anything jumps out at me about this game. I don't see it right now. $112th game. Mathematics 112. Warriors going for the. Let's see. Do these teams play again? They do play one more time. So their last game this season will be the 113th. If the Warriors swept the Timberwolves this season, they could get their 68th series win. Sweep is 68. And 32. Game's on the 88th day of the year. The one hope for Minnesota is just staying at 38 losses at home in Minnesota. Minnesota's 38. Let's see who these teams play next. Warriors have the Pacers next. So the thing about the Warriors playing the Pacers next is Indiana does have that gematria of 47. If the Warriors lost this game, they'd face Indiana with 47 wins. And Minnesota, it does equal 38. If you use the rule for S, Minnesota's also 47. If the Warriors beat the Pacers, they'd get their 48th, and then their next game's against Dallas. Dallas is 49. So that actually might be perfect. Warriors could be in for a loss here. Get the stay at 47. They wouldn't get the sweep then this year. They could very well finish with 67 wins, the 19th prime in 2019. What's target center equal again? Target center is 55 like Minneapolis, yeah. There's reason for the Warriors to lose here just looking at their next opponent, Indiana. Indiana's 47. Go on there, beat the Pacers, and then beat Dallas and get the 49th win. Be the way it is. And again, Timberwolves would stay at 38 losses. Minnesota's 38. Did I look at the Timberwolves schedule? Let's see who they play next. They got Charlotte next. So if the Timberwolves won this game, they'd go into Charlotte and could potentially lose there and get their 39th loss. Charlotte is 39. But the trick is sometimes we do see a team go into the game and they already have the number. So if the Timberwolves did lose tonight, they would go into Charlotte with 39 losses and Charlotte's 39. But also a fitting place to pick up the 39th loss. And I would say with the Warriors' future riddle, I'm still leaning towards the Timberwolves upset here just because Indiana's 47. So Timberwolves with the points might be a decent bet tonight. The Nets and the Kings. The Nets and the Kings. Sacramento's got the 37. This is what we were talking about, how the Nets on this road trip, then they play Los Angeles next. They very well could return home 37 and 37. And I'm thinking the more likely win in California is over the Lakers for the reason we just stated, because they could give the Lakers their 41st loss. Brooklyn 41. Nets has that gematria of 13 and 22. The Kings could get their 22nd home win here over the Nets. Let's check it out. '89th game, 24th prime. Kings going for 50. Nets going for 40. The one thing about the date numerology is we do have a 34 date. The Kings could stay on that number, but again, when you're already on the number, it's not as much of an indicator. See who the Kings play next here. Kings got Dallas next, and then Phoenix. That game was at home against Dallas. And then at home against the Suns. I don't see a great clue there. All right, so the Nets and the Lakers, the next one. Notice the Nets-Lakers game's on 2-2-3. Brooklyn, New York's also 2-2-3. And you know what's funny is if the Nets win and lose one or lose and win one and they're 37 and 37, their next game's Portland, which equals 37. So how perfect to go into Portland with a 37-37 record. My strategy for this might be take the Kings tonight because I think it makes more sense for the Nets to get the win against the Lakers. And even at 37-37, Sacramento and Los Angeles both equal 37. So does Portland. And so for them to go into Portland 37 and 37 makes a lot of sense. The trick is just deciding who does it make more sense for the Nets to get the 37th win against. And the reason that we saw that it might make more sense against the Lakers is because the Lakers would get their 41st loss. That's if they lose tonight, which they should. Because, again, Brooklyn and LA are 41. So I think I would take the Kings to win this game, get their 22nd win over the Nets. Nets 22. The only thing is just that 34 right there. It just bothers me a little bit. But not enough to think that the Nets won't get that win against the Lakers, or it's making more sense. If the Nets, let's say the Nets won tonight and you lost this bet, I think it is likely then that the Lakers would beat the Nets in that game, just so they're at 37-37 heading into Portland. But as of right now, going off the information we have, I think Kings get the Nets tonight. Nets get the Lakers, and then they go into Portland 37-37. Okay. Pacers, Clippers. Remember, we have this 61 date numerology, the 18th prime. Pacers can be 18-18. Not seeing anything else in the opponent records in terms of the teams they're playing. Remember, the Pacers came in here with 44 wins. They just lost to Portland for another 44. Also possible the Pacers stay at 44 against the Clippers. We'll see who they play next. '89th game, Los Angeles, California's 89. Pacers going for 57. Clippers going for 33. Second game this year. They played 40 days ago, or a span of 41. Clippers lost big at Indiana. They got beat good. Let's see who these teams play next. Clippers got the Cavs and the Knicks on the road. So what's their road record? 19-17. 17. Shoot, not real helpful. Let's see. Pacers, who do they got next? They got the Warriors, and then back home against the Nuggets. They got some tough games. Warriors. What day's that game? 24, 43, 63 date numerology, 24, 36 date numerology. Shoot. Their 73rd game will be against the Warriors. It's the 73rd NBA season. Well, I can't get – there's not much of a read here on this game. I'd probably stay away from this probably stay away from that game. I don't see any read to give enough confidence one way or the next. The network it's on does have the 31 connection. Clippers could get their 31st loss. Let's see what kind of streaks these teams are on real quick. Pacers on a 2-game losing streak. Clippers on a 2-game winning streak. Rob says, since it's Tuesday of the day, named after Mars, the god of war, do teams with war connections, do they have the better riddle? It is a thought. I do think astrology is a part of this, so continue to observe those things. This game, just the problem is Pacers could stay at 44 against the Clippers. Clippers 44. They could also become 18-18 on the 61 date numerology. 61 is the 18th prime. It would give the Clippers their 31st loss on NBA TV, which equals 31. So I just think that, and then we couldn't really garner anything from looking at their next games. So wait a minute, let me think about one more thing here. Okay. There could be some, I just thought about one thing. The word number has gematria of 73 and 28. And, Steph Curry's got the pi day birthday, pi, the number. The Pacers game against the Warriors, the team that set the win mark at 73, Steph Curry born on the 73rd day of the year. If the Pacers lost to the Warriors, they would get their 28th loss in their 73rd game. So that's the only thing I can make sense of with their win record. And if they were 18-18 on this date, I mean, that does make sense. It's the 61 date numerology, the 18th prime. Indiana equals 34. We got the 34 date numerology, but that doesn't show up in the records. The 31st loss on NBA TV. If I had to pick this game, I'd give the edge to the Pacers. I guess I'd take the points with the Clippers. But it's still the one risk is the Pacers stay on 44 against the Clippers. So okay. Again, 76ers Hornets. 76ers have a shot at that 18th win on the 61 date. Their next game's against the Celtics. Celtics equals 26. They very well could get that 26th loss in the next game against the Celtics. The Hornets are looking at their 39th loss in Charlotte. Charlotte equals 39. 76ers has the gematria of 39. The hope for the Hornets is that their next game is against Minnesota, and Minnesota's 38. If they could win this game, they'd stay at 38 losses. But the 76ers have the better riddle. Let me just run the Spectrum Center real quick to see if there's another relevant number here. I'd say 76ers got the better riddle there. Rockets, Hawks. Atlanta, if they lose, they get their 48th loss in Atlanta. Atlanta's 48. However, we have 25 date numerology. The Hawks can get their 25th win on the 25 date. That would give the Rockets their 17th away loss. Remember, Hawks is 17. Atlanta, Georgia is 59, the 17th prime. Houston's a big favorite. The last time these teams played, the Rockets won by 8 at home. So it gives you some reason to believe that logically, well, at home, the Hawks could cut that margin. I think if you're going to make a bet on this game, take the points with the possibility of a Hawks upset, getting 25 on the 25 date. Lakers, Bucks, Los Angeles equals 53. Bucks can get the 53rd win. And there wasn't really anything going for Los Angeles. Made sense for them to stay at 31 wins against this opponent. Bucks equals 11. 31's the 11th prime. If the Lakers lose this game, that's number 40 on the season. And their next game's against an opponent with 41 gematria. They could get embarrassed by the Nets at home in the next game. Brooklyn, 41. Warriors, Timberwolves. There's reason to believe the Timberwolves could upset this game because the Warriors' next game is against Indiana. Indiana equals 47. Minnesota equals 38. The Timberwolves can stay at 38 losses at home with an upset. Minnesota with the S, with the rule with the S, is also 47. So they could keep the Warriors at 47 wins, Minnesota at 38 losses in the right location. If the Warriors do lose this game, I think they're in good shape to win their next two against the Pacers and against Dallas, because Dallas would be the 49th win. Dallas equals 49, just like Warriors equals 49. So I would take the Timberwolves with the points here. The other argument is the Warriors could win this game and the game against the Pacers and go into Dallas with 49 wins, which is also possible. But Timberwolves, I think they got a real shot at an upset here. There's enough reason to believe that the Warriors face Indiana with 47 wins. Just look at how many times we've tracked that, going in up against the opponent with the right win or loss number that symbolizes that opponent. Nets Kings, we're thinking the Nets win one and lose one in their next two games so that they're 37-37. Sacramento equals 37. The next game's Los Angeles 37, and then they play Portland 37. So if they win one and lose one in the next two, they go into Portland with a 37-37 record. To me, it makes more sense for the Nets to lose to the Kings and beat the Lakers because they can give the Lakers that 41st loss. Brooklyn's 41, LA's 41. So if they lose tonight, they're 36-37. If they beat LA, they're 37-37. And then the strategy could be that if you did lose tonight on the bet, say the Nets beat the Kings tonight, I would assume that the Lakers then do have a good shot to beat the Nets for the 37-37 riddle heading into Portland. So essentially what I'm saying is if you lost tonight, I think we'd have a good strategy for the next game to even it back up. If the Kings do win tonight, they get their 22nd win. Nets is 13. If you use the rule for S, Nets is also 22. So makes a bit of sense to get the 22nd win against the Nets also. Then Pacers, Clippers. Again, this one's tough because Clippers is 44. Pacers could stay on 44 wins. Hold on, before I go to this game, I just want to remind what that one other risk is for the Kings game. Today's date has 34 numerology. There's a chance the Kings could stay on 34 wins. But I still think the riddle's better for the Kings. That's the biggest risk on the board to me. Okay, Pacers. They could stay at 44 wins against the Clippers. Clippers 44. They could also even their record at 18-18. Today's date has 61 numerology, the 18th prime. The thing for the Clippers is they could stay at 41 wins. 41. LA's 41. They could get their 14th home loss. LA equals 13 and 14 as well as 41. The Pacers, if they win this game, I suspect they'll lose their next game to Golden State, as we talked about. And again, that'll be their 73rd game of the season, and they could get their 28th loss. And both of those numbers relate to the word number. And again, Steph Curry's born on Pi Day, the 73rd day of the year, the most significant number. The Warriors set that win record at 73, so there could be a riddle there with that. And I guess I would give the edge to the Pacers in this game. I'd take the points. Could be a close one. But that's how I see in the NBA. So leaning 76ers, leaning towards the Hawks upset or to cover the spread. Think Bucks are in the clear. Timberwolves have a great shot at an upset. Favor the Kings. Give the Pacers the slight edge. That one's tight, though. Okay, let's run over the NHL games. Then we'll run over the college basketball, the games going on today. There's the NIT as well. Let's see. Looks like we got a number of hockey games. All right, so NHL. 168th day of the NHL season. I think New York City's 168. Got the New York teams line up today. 168th day of the NHL season. Again, date numerology that really matters, 61, 34, 25. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm mistaken. I take it back. What is it? I was thinking something. Is it NHL? It's NHL. NHL's 34. Thought there was some relevance to 34. So NHL's 34. We also have the 25-date numerology. 41 could matter in the standings. Again, it's the 19th, the 8th prime, 78th day of the year. So, and as I say that, the one thing about that Rockets-Hawks game, the Rockets were going for their 78th series win today. So the Rockets very well could beat the Hawks, but Hawks still have a chance at the upset, and perhaps they play them closer than 8 points. So just want to make sure you got that note about the Rockets going for the 78th win series. All right, Bruins, Islanders. So here's a New York team. In 61, 34, 25. Let me see. Bruins have that 43 connection? Yeah, Bruins is 43. So notice, if the Islanders won this game, they'd both be at 43 wins. Bruins 43. Could get that 43rd win. Close some things here. Okay, so that's the first thing jumping out. 43. The Bruins' next loss is their 21st. Boston Bruins. Boston. Islanders. Islanders is 61. We got the 61 date numerology. Let's see here. If you do the rule with S for the New York Islanders, it's 95. Put that up here just so you can see it. 2 S's, so you're adding +9 for each S. That could keep the Bruins at 95 points against the Islanders. The Bruins are the favorite, so they're probably 1.5 points on the puck line. Just to be safe, you could take the puck line, even though the Islanders are at home. Looks like that's the way it'll be. Let's see here. Let's check the head-to-head. Interesting that they come in with 168 games. So it's the 169th game. This will be the Bruins are going for 90, and the Islanders are going for their 59th all-time. I would take the puck line with the Islanders here. 43rd win against the Bruins makes sense. Let me just check who these teams play next. Bruins got New Jersey next. Okay, so that is something to consider. They play New Jersey next. New Jersey's also a 43. If the Islanders lost this game, I think they'd be a shoo-in for 43 over New Jersey. So that is something to consider. New Jersey's 43. And then I see they got the Florida Panthers, and Florida's 43, so is Panthers. So interesting that they're playing these 43 teams like that. It's also possible the Islanders win tonight. Maybe they get upset by New Jersey. They stay at 43, then they go into the Florida Panthers game. But if Islanders lose this one, New Jersey should be an easy call, because that makes sense to get 43 and then face the opponent with the double 43 connection. Let's see who the or wait a minute. Excuse me. I'm looking at the Bruins schedule. I'm looking at the wrong team here. So that makes sense even more, doesn't it? If the Bruins lose tonight, then they face New Jersey with 43. And God, maybe they even get upset by New Jersey, and then they face the Panthers. Okay. So that actually makes – I was reading that backwards. Islanders, I'm increasing my stake in believing that they win tonight. Because then Bruins face New Jersey 43. Okay, let's look at who the Islanders play. Yeah, Montreal Canadiens. Canadiens has the Gematria 43. Canadiens 43. So Islanders win tonight. They can face the Canadiens with 43. But also potential same dilemma. If they did lose tonight, they'd be looking good to get that 43rd win. But in light of what we just saw, who the Bruins play next, I think this Islanders pick's looking halfway decent. And you know what? If the Islanders do win tonight, looking at their schedule, I think there's reason to believe they would lose to the Canadiens, because if they win tonight. What's up, man?
Hey, I'm looking at the M Cubed, and for all games, including home and away, they have a completely different record. So you might want to check that out real fast.
Well, we know M Cubed, they only go back to so many years.
Because they've got 66 wins for the Islanders and 92 wins for the Bruins and 21 ties.
Well,
it's a lot of games.
They got the 21 ties. That's an agreement.
And then something really interesting is, according to MCube anyway, the Islanders have 36 wins and 43 losses at home, which is where the game is. That 43 number again.
Yeah, I've never liked the M Cube stats as much. So tell me what it was for M Cubed again.
Right now they're in 66 wins.
Who is?
For the Islanders.
Okay.
66, 92 losses, 21 ties. The home record is 36 wins, 43 losses, 10 ties. And the reason why I like M-Cube is because they give all the games and you can see like the streaks. And it seems to me the Islanders are on a 6-game losing streak versus the Bruins currently. And I think it's even more at home. Just something maybe you want to look at. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up here. Let's just compare real quick. All right, thanks, man.
All right, brother. Bye.
Okay, so let's see. Boston Bruins series records. All right, so it'd be going fair on here. You know what it is? It's because this includes the postseason. That's why there's more, because this has the postseason stats. So the postseason. That's what I don't like about MQ, because it mixes regular and postseason. So that's what it is. I do see what he's saying, though, with the 43. So if you take away the playoff, see, if you take away the 3 from here, then you're back to 89, which is what we have. So it is the same. It's just it's including the postseason. That's the difference. Plus postseason. So you take away the 8 here, you're at 58. And is that what we had? Yeah, 54 plus 4, 58. So it is the same. It's just including postseason on M cubed. That's the difference. Okay, I see Rob's tip too about looking in the arenas. But yeah, so that's the difference. It just includes the postseason. So if you subtract these, it's the same numbers. But I still think the Islanders got the good read here. The Bruins' next opponent's New Jersey, 43. Islanders' next opponent's Canadiens that have the 43 connection as well. Both teams can go into their next arenas with 43. And what I was saying about the Islanders is that they play the Philadelphia Flyers after the Canadiens, and Philadelphia Flyers has that 93 connection. So if they win tonight, they get to 93 points, and then perhaps they lose against the Canadiens and then go into that Philadelphia game with 93. And again, New York Islanders, we talked about, equals 95 too. That would keep the Bruins at 95 points. Okay, Red Wings, Rangers. Red Wings, Rangers. So 25 date numerology. Red Wings could stay on 25. 61 date numerology. If the Red Wings lost in a shootout, they'd get to 61 points. Let's see here. Detroit Red Wings. Rangers is 37 like Detroit. If the Red Wings again lost in a shootout, they would stay at 37 losses. If they won, they would also stay at 37 losses. Let's see who these teams play next. Rangers have Toronto next. Toronto has that strong connection to 72. So I'm thinking about how the Rangers could possibly have 72 points. It's either with an overtime loss and a win against the Maple Leafs, or with a win today and a loss against the Maple Leafs. And just as a reminder, Toronto equals 72 and Toronto Maple Leafs equals 72. I think what I would do in this game, the Rangers are the favorite. I think I would take the puck line with the Red Wings. If the Red Wings win, you win the bet. And if the Red Wings lose by 1, and the puck line could be 2.5. But if this goes to a shootout, then you win the bet. Very, very real chance that the Red Wings are at 61 points by the end of this game, maybe even 62. Because again, Rangers is 37, so is Detroit. So I would take the puck line for the Red Wings here. I think Red Wings are a good puck line bet this game. Look at the Rangers schedule a little bit more. Rangers got the Penguins. Okay, Canadiens Flyers. Canadiens Flyers. Is there a connection here? Flyers. Montreal does equal 35. Flyers could be held to 35 wins against Montreal. I forgot to hold on. I forgot to do the Red Wings and Rangers head-to-head. And again, the reason I prefer this over M cubed is because when I start to mix in the playoffs, I can't tell you how many times I've seen like, oh, that's perfect, including the playoff record, and then it doesn't go that way. So I've just learned to say, okay, sometimes it does matter. I mean, we saw that deeper riddle earlier this season with the Warriors and the 76ers. I think with like great history between teams, it matters, the playoffs. If it's not like a great historical matchup, it doesn't matter. Like Duke and North Carolina, great historical matchup. The all-time matters. You know, Philadelphia and the Warriors make sense because the Warriors are originally from Philly. It seems in some matchups it matters, but most of them it takes you away from the right outcome. That's what I've noticed over the years. So anyhow, still want to see what the Red Wings and the Rangers head-to-head is here. Wow, they got a lot of games played. All right, those numbers don't really factor into today. All right, how about Canadiens and Flyers? $196 game. Canadiens going for 89. Flyers going for, that's interesting about the Flyers. The Flyers are going for their 78th regular season win today on the 78th day of the year. They're also at 78 points right now. Funny. So the riddle for the Flyers is picking up the 78th win on the 78th day of the year. They could also stay at 78 points on the 78th day of the year. Montreal's 35. They could stay on 35 wins. Let's see who these teams play next. Canadians got the Islanders next. Islanders have that 38 connection. So if the Canadians lost this game, they could get the 38th against the Islanders. We were just thinking about though how it made sense for the Islanders to lose to the Canadians because of how it would set them up with the Flyers. So perhaps the Canadians go into that game with 38 wins and keep the Islanders at 38. Remember, we were just talking about that. If the Islanders win tonight, well, pretty much what it is, if the Islanders win one of their next two games, they'll be at 93 points because the game after the Canadians game is the Philadelphia Flyers, which equal 93. Okay. Canadians have the Sabres after that. Let's look at this again. Let's see the Flyers play. Flyers got the Blackhawks next. So that's interesting. Flyers play Blackhawks next. Chicago has that 37 connection, and Blackhawks, the rule with S is also 37. The Flyers would have to win tonight to have a shot at their 37th win against the Blackhawks. Let's see. Hmm. 24, 43, 63. 24. This will be a date with 36 numerology. This next game against the Blackhawks be a date with 36 numerology as well. So it could also make sense for the Flyers to get the 36th win on that date because you have the 36 numerology. Could also make sense for them to go in there with 36 and have a shot at the 37th win. Yeah, this one's tight. This one's a tight one. If the Islanders win tonight and the Canadians win tonight, that sets up our riddle perfectly for what I'm thinking will happen. Because then it puts the Canadians in a... Or wait. No, I take that back. If the Islanders won tonight and the Canadians lost tonight, that would set up the riddle perfect for the next game. Because then the Canadians could get the 38th win over the Islanders and have the Islanders right where they need to be going into the Philadelphia game. Yeah. So that would suggest the Flyers win. But this game is this is to me, this is the most dangerous game so far out of the three we've looked at. If I had to pick, I'd say I'd give the edge to the Canadian, or not the Canadians, the Flyers, excuse me, going for that 78th series win on the 78th day of the year. Having a shot at the 37th win against Chicago, going in with 36 wins on the 36th date. Okay, Penguins, Hurricanes, 25 date numerology. Hurricanes could stay on 25. Penguins could pick up the 25. It's the first thing jumping out here. Do the Penguins have a connection? if the Penguins were to win, notice they would get their 90th points tonight. Carolina Hurricanes 90. Carolina Hurricanes 90. So now we have a riddle going both ways. Date numerology's there. And the potential win series. Let's see. Carolina, 149th game. That's the 35th prime. Penguins going for 75. Hurricanes going for 64. See who these teams play next. Penguins got the Predators next. Nashville. Nashville has the 39 connection. Nashville is 39. So they could go into Nashville with 39 wins. Interesting that if the Penguins beat the Predators and beat the Stars, they could get their 41st win in Dallas. Dallas is 41. Let's see who the Hurricanes play. Hurricanes got the Lightning next. So if the Hurricanes win this game, they go into Tampa Bay with 25 losses, and Tampa Bay's 25. So that makes some sense too. Hurricanes go in with 25 losses to Tampa Bay. Penguins going with 39 wins to Nashville. For that, I got to favor the Hurricanes. And the one thing is the Penguins, if they upset, they would get the 90th points. Carolina Hurricanes is 90. So, I mean, there is a riddle in that, but the date numerology is there. And I've said this before, when the date numerology is up against the Gematria, I'm seeing the date numerology win out more often in the NHL. Plus, the other reason to believe in the date numerology, again, is that Nashville's 39, the Penguins' next opponent, and Tampa Bay, 25, which is the Hurricanes' next opponent. Hurricanes could stay at 25 if they lost in a shootout. That's one thing to consider. They could stay at 25 if they lost in a shootout, and then the Penguins would get their 90th points. But the Penguins then would not have the right win total going into Nashville because Nashville's 39. Yeah, I got to give the edge to the Hurricanes. There's just more riddles that line up there. Okay, Capitals and Devils. So the Capitals can get their 43rd win in New Jersey. First thing jumping out, New Jersey's 43. Devils would stay at 27 wins against the Capitals. Capitals is 27. New Jersey Devils. All right, Capitals, Lightning. That's who they play next. If the Capitals got beat in this game, they would have a chance to pick up their 25th loss against the Lightning. Something to think about. Bay Lightning. If the Capitals got beat in this game, they would go into the Tampa Bay Lightning game with 91 points. So there is something about the future game that could be possible for an upset here, but just on the surface, Capitals look good to go for this game. Let's see the Devils play. Devils got the Bruins next. Okay. If the Devils lost their next 2 games, they'd go into the Arizona game with 39 losses. Arizona's 39. Huh. Let's see something. $214th game. The Devils are going for their 91st win. Capitals are at 91 points. And the Capitals going for their 111th. So again, on the surface, things look really good for the Capitals because New Jersey's 43, get the 43rd win against New Jersey. Devils are at 27 wins. Capitals equals 27, so they could stay right there. They could get their 38th loss against the team from the 38th parallel, which is Washington, D.C. But just the one thing that I'm just looking down the road, if Capitals got upset in this game, again, they would get their 24th loss. They'd stay at 91 points, and they'd be in good shape to get their 25th loss against Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay Lightning is 91 as well. So it just makes me wonder. If I didn't look at the next game, I'd say, oh, this is Capitals easy all day. Perfect. But in light of the Devils being a good payout if they upset, I wonder. I'd see how much of an underdog the Devils are. If they're like a 2.5-point underdog, it might be worth it to take the puck line on them. They have a chance at an upset here, but I mean, it makes perfect sense for the Capitals to get the win too. I would not bet on the Capitals just because they're not much of a payout, and there is a risk that they lose here just looking at who their next opponent is. Okay, the Oilers and the Blues. Edmonton is 37. The Blues are on 37 wins. We have the 34 date numerology. The Oilers could get their 34th loss. And let me see something. Oh, it's not there. So right away, we can make a little bit of an argument either way. Oilers is 33. They could even their record up at 33 and 33. Oilers is 84 as well. So the Blues could get their 84th points. That would give the Oilers their 34th loss on the 34 date numerology. Let's see what the head-to-head is here. $137th game. That's the 33rd prime. We just talked about how the Oilers is 33. They could even it up at 33-33. Oilers are going for their 59th win. Blues is 59. And St. Louis is going for their 68th all-time win. Regular season. Lewis. Let's see here. Blues got the Detroit Red Wings next. So the thing about them playing the Red Wings next is if they lost, they'd stay at 37 wins. Detroit's 37, Edmonton's 37. And they got Tampa Bay. Detroit Red Wings is 82. They could stay on 82 points and face the Red Wings next. Let's see the Oilers play. Oilers got the Columbus Blue Jackets and then Ottawa. Columbus, let's see this. Columbus Blue Jackets. Blue Jackets. Blue Jackets is 71. God, why is this game this way? St. Louis is a big favorite here. Man. We got narratives that make too much sense both ways. Again, the Blues could get their 84th points. Oilers equals 84. The Blues lose. They stay at 37 wins. Edmonton's 37. Their next opponent, Detroit's 37. Detroit Red Wings is 82. They could stay right there. What we just saw, the Oilers, who they play next. The Blue Jackets, they have this 71 connection. They could stay on 71 points. They could pick up the 34th loss on the 34 date. It was the 137th series game, the 33rd prime. Oilers could even it up at 33-33. I would see how much a Oilers payout pays to cover the puck line. If they cover the spread, if it's a good enough payout, it could be worth the risk. But I mean, because we have a good narrative for the Blues to lose and win, and we have the same thing for the Oilers. I think this is the most interesting game I've ever decoded in the NHL. We've decoded a lot of games, but this one is just like, what? How can it be so both ways? Huh. Ottawa. Let's look at that. Yeah. All right, so Maple Leafs Predators. First thing jumping out here is that the Maple Leafs can get the 44th win. Predators is 44. Second thing jumping out is Maple Leafs can get the 25th loss and 25 date numerology. So 44th win makes a bit of sense. 25th loss makes sense. '25th game. Oftentimes when you see the game number and that number is also on the board, that number comes through. So Maple Leafs could get the 25th loss on the 25 date. Maple Leafs have 11 wins. Predators have a 12 all-time wins. Okay. Let's see who they play. Buffalo Sabres next for the Maple Leafs. Crucial there. Then they got the New York Rangers. So that's interesting. It's hard to imagine they're still at 44. They'd have to go on a losing streak. Rangers have that 44 connection too, which is Toronto's next win. Predators. They got the Penguins next, and then Winnipeg. Penguins 92. So the Predators next wins their 42nd, and Penguins is 42. Do they go into that game with 42, or is that the right opponent to pick up 42? It's always the one challenge. 24, 43. They got the Winnipeg Jets. Again, the date numerology has been coming out in hockey when you're faced with this scenario with the Gematria and the date numerology. The date numerology has been more, it's been the one to trump the Gematria, which I've pointed out a number of times. It's not every time, though, but just law of averages. Law of averages says it makes more sense for the Maple Leafs to get the 25th loss in this game. But still, Predators is 44. If the Predators lost this game, their next opponent does have the 42 Gematria. So, dangerous game, I would say here. It's still dangerous because there's reason to believe if the Predators do lose this game, I think they're in great shape to win their next one, which is the Penguins 42. All right. Wild and Avalanche. Let's see. Minnesota Wild is 76. I know that. So the Avalanche could get their 76 points tonight. We talked about this in their last game, how they could win the last one to set this up for the 76 here. Wild are at 34 wins. We are on a 34 date numerology. That was the other thing we said about the Nashville game, is that it was the 25th game, and the one thing the Maple Leafs could get, it was the 25th loss. That was another thing to keep in mind for that game. #102nd game. Colorado going for 48. Wild going for 52. Thing about that is Minnesota does equal 52. They could get the 52nd win in Minnesota. Let's see who they play next. Avalanche got the Dallas Stars next. Dallas equals 113, the 30th prime. Could get that 30th loss in Dallas. Stars. Possibility they could end up with 77 points in Dallas. That would be 1 win and 1 overtime loss. Got the Chicago Blackhawks. Let's see who the Wild play next. I've got the Capitals next. What day is that game? March 22nd. Capitals 76. If the Wild lost this game, they would go to Washington, D.C. with 77 points. You know how D.C.'s on the 77th meridian, always a big number in that city. So maybe that makes some sense for them to go there with 77 points. They got Carolina Hurricanes. But yeah, the fact that Minnesota Wild is 76 and keeping the Wild at 34 wins on the 34 date, I got to favor the Avalanche here in this narrative. Minnesota Wild 76, going to DC with 77 points. All right, Panthers and Stars. Stars can get the 38th win. Florida equals 38. Panthers equals 38. So that's on the board right away. We just saw that Dallas Stars, or maybe it's just Stars. Stars equals 77. If Florida lost in a shootout, they'd be at 77 points. I can look at this here. So, yeah, I'm liking that. Let's see. Panthers got the Coyotes next. Panthers would have a shot at their 33rd win against the Coyotes. Coyotes equals 33. If they lost this game. Then they got the Bruins. So they could go into that Bruins game 33-29. They lost tonight and then beat the Coyotes. Let's see who the Stars got. Stars got the Colorado Avalanche next. So if the Stars win this game, they have 38 wins, and then they play the very 38 team. Colorado's 38, plus they're from the 38th state. Colorado. Yeah, just this really 38 opponent makes a lot of sense. And then Panthers with a good shot at 33 at home against the next team they face. Okay. And then Calgary in the Blue Jackets. I know Blue Jackets is 28. I see they're at 28 losses. Calgary does equal 41. Blue Jackets have a chance at their 41st win against Calgary. Calgary 41. Flames. All right, Columbus. Blue Jackets. Hold on, before I go further in this game, I forgot to check one thing with the Panthers and Stars. Let me go back and check that series head-to-head. Make sure there's not something there. 37th game. The Stars are going for their 18th all-time win, 61 the 18th prime, but still, the series record's never as good of an indicator as just the head-to-head. Okay, let's see what it is for the Blue Jackets and Flames. '59th game, the 17th prime. Blue Jackets going for the 33rd win. Calgary going for the 27th. Who do they play next? Got the Edmonton Oilers next. So the thing about the Blue Jackets playing the Oilers next is they're at 84 points. If they lost this game, they'd face the Oilers with 84. They got the Vancouver Canucks. And got the Senators and the Canucks. Senators. Ooh. Check that one more time. Oh, you know what else I'm thinking about? Just in light of today being March 19th, 19/3, kind of like 193, the 44th prime. I wonder if that could be a reason to stay on 44. That could be a reason that 44 is significant today. I'm glad I just had that thought. 19/3, 193, the 44th prime. Maple Leafs were another team going for 44. Bruins were a team going for 44. Again, Calgary's 41. It's the strongest number sticking out in this game. The Blue Jackets' next game, was it at home? Oh, it's on the road too. Just the thing was, the next opponent for the Blue Jackets has the 84 Gematria. Chigozie says he's seen a lot of news coded 44 today. Check something again. Okay, so Bruins Islanders. The Bruins' next game is against New Jersey. New Jersey equals 43. The Islanders' next game is against the Canadiens. Canadiens is 34 and 43. If the Islanders win tonight, they get their 43rd win. Bruins equals 43. And What I would do, just to be safe, is the Bruins are a favorite, so just take the puck line for the Islanders. It's very likely they get the 43rd win. The only thing is, now that I just had that revelation about 19/3, the 44th prime, it's possible the Bruins get the 44th win, but I think the 43 riddle is better for this game because both teams face an opponent with 43 Gematria next. Red Wings, we have 25 date numerology. There's a chance they stay on 25 wins. They can do that with a loss or with a shootout win. Rangers equals 37, so does Detroit. That's reason to believe that the Red Wings do stay on the 37 regulation losses. And there was one more thing about that. It was the Red Wings schedule. What was the thought that I had? There was one other thought. St. Louis. The Red Wings' next game is against St. Louis. So, I mean, it would make a lot of sense for them to go in there with 25 wins. The way they could stay on the 25 and 37 is by losing in a shootout. So, a Red Wings puck line bet you would win if it went to a shootout. And there's reason to believe in the shootout here. Shootouts are very common in the NHL. If I was going to bet on that game, that's what I would do. I'd take the Red Wings puck line. Probably does make more sense for the Red Wings to lose. There's a chance at the win. But even if they lose in the shootout, you still take the bet. I swear there was one more thing I wanted to say about that game, though. Okay, Canadians and Flyers. So Montreal equals 35. Flyers can stay at 35 wins against Montreal. The Flyers' next game is against the Blackhawks on a date with 36 numerology. If the Flyers did win, they'd go into that game with 36 wins and they'd have a chance at 37 against Chicago. And then their next game is the Islanders. And the Islanders, they do have the 38 connection, so it could give them a chance at that. The Canadians... Canadians got the Islanders next. Islanders equals 38. So if Canadians lose here, they have a shot at 38 against the Islanders. But what we were seeing is if the Islanders win tonight, they're at 93 points. If they lost to the Canadians in their next game, then they would stay at 93. And their next game is the Philadelphia Flyers, which equals 93. So to me, you know, the narrative I'm hoping plays out tonight is the Islanders win and the Flyers win. So it sets up a good narrative for the Canadians to pick up the 38th win against the Islanders. So that makes this game iffy. This Canadians-Flyers game's tough. Penguins and Hurricanes. Penguins have the Predators next. Nashville. Nashville is 39. If they lose tonight, they go into Nashville with 39 wins. And the Hurricanes, you got the Tampa Bay Lightning next. Tampa Bay is 25. So if the Hurricanes win, they go into Tampa Bay with 25 losses. Tampa Bay 25. So if the Penguins lose and Hurricanes win, both of their next games have rhyme and reason to it. Both of the games make a lot of sense. Capitals, Devils. On the surface, this just looks like a really easy read. New Jersey equals 43. Capitals get the 43rd win. Devils stay at 27 wins. Capitals equals 27. I want to just jump all over that. But the thing is, the Capitals' next game is the Tampa Bay Lightning. And Tampa Bay Lightning has this gematria of 91. Plus Tampa Bay's 25. If the Capitals got upset in this game, they'd pick up their 24th loss, and that would give them a chance to pick up their 25th loss next game in Tampa Bay 25 and stay at 91 points, where Tampa Bay Lightning's 91. So if I were you, I would not bet on the Capitals because it's not going to be much of a payout. If Tampa Bay is a big payout on the puck line, I might take the risk. Because again, the reason it is definitely a risk is 43 over New Jersey just makes a lot of sense. But again, if the Capitals lose, they have a perfect setup going into their next game. So if if the Devils are a big enough payout, maybe it's worth the risk to you. But realize it is a definite risk. Because right on the surface, it says Capitals win. But then again, I mean, like yesterday, I liked 2 games in the NHL. I thought there were some good reads, plus there was nothing down the road that seemed to go against it, and they didn't hit. So sometimes what's right on the surface and screaming at you in the face, it just doesn't come through. And there's reason to believe the Capitals could be set up for the next game with a surprise loss. Okay, Blues Oilers. This game was all sorts of trouble. Edmonton's 37. Blues could stay on 37 wins. Their next game is a 37 opponent too. Blues face Detroit next. Detroit's 37. Detroit Red Wings is 82. If the Blues lose, they stay on 37 wins and 82 points, as long as they lose in regulation. Oilers, they could get their 34th loss on the 34 date. And the Oilers' next opponent, their name equals 71. The Oilers played the Blue Jackets next. And is it Blue Jackets that's 71? Yeah, Blue Jackets is 71. So this game has me scratching my head. It is the 137th series matchup, the 33rd prime. Oilers is 33. Notice the Oilers could go 33 and 33. But you can really make perfect riddles both ways here. So, again, this is a judgment call on your part. If the Oilers are a great payout, because it looks like they're a considerable underdog on the puck line, maybe you take the risk. Take the risk of the Oilers getting it done. But remember, Oilers has 84 gematria. We got 34 date numerology. So then again, the Blues lose. They go into their next opponent with the perfect amount of wins and the perfect amount of points. So it's all about the payout and the amount of risk you're willing to take. Maple Leafs, Predators. Another tight call here because Predators equals 44. Maple Leafs can get the 44th win. We have the 25 date numerology. I've seen the date numerology beating the gematria at a ratio, I would say, about 2 to 1. Predators, however, if they lose, their next opponent has 42 gematria. That's the Penguins. So if the Predators lose tonight, they can get the 42nd win over the Penguins, which makes some sense. Who do the Maple Leafs play again next? Maple Leafs got the Sabres next. I wasn't seeing anything there. And Predators got the Penguins next. So, yeah, this one is this one's a tight call too. It's a tight call too. I'd probably just shy away from that one, honestly. I'd probably just let it go. Minnesota Wild equals 76. The Avalanche, we gave them a chance to win their last game, so to set up this opportunity to get the 76th points against the Wild. That would keep the Wild at 34 wins on the 34-date numerology. The Avalanche next game is Dallas, if I remember correctly. Dallas. And then the Blackhawks. The Avalanche could lose their next game in Dallas. Dallas is 1-1-3, the 30th prime. But I'm just thinking because Minnesota Wild 76 makes some sense to get it done. And the Wild schedule, they got the Capitals next. We were saying how the Wild could go into Washington, D.C., the land of 77 with 77 points on the board as long as they lose tonight in regulation. Panthers and Stars, Florida equals 38. Panthers equals 38. Stars can get the 38th win. Panthers' next game is against opponent with 33 Gematria, the Coyotes, at home. So good chance to get that 33rd win against the Coyotes as long as they lose tonight to the Stars. Panthers 38, Florida 38. And Blue Jackets, Flames. The only thing that's screaming out about this riddle is Calgary 41. Blue Jackets can get the 41st win. If I bet it, I'd take the puck line just because Flames are a good team. I mean, so are the Blue Jackets. They're not bad either. But I've just seen a few games now where a team could have got a 41 connection against the Flames and they didn't get it. So I know that that's definitely not a lock. But it is the only real riddle on the board. And one more time. It's the only thing to make an assumption off of. Okay, Blue Jackets do play the Oilers next. That was another thought too, because Oilers has that 84 connection. If the Blue Jackets lost outright in regulation, they would stay at 84 points. So that's why I'd take the puck line bet. There's a chance they lose in regulation and cover the spread. And there's also a real chance that they get the 41st win. So if you're going to bet that game, I'm saying Blue Jackets, puck line. Smartest way to go. So Islanders, again, I think they might be worth a go. And they're an underdog, so you can take the puck line here to give yourself some cushion. Bruins next opponent equals 43. Islanders next opponent equals 43. Bruins is 43. Red Wings could be worth the risk. Canadiens, Flyers, very iffy. Hurricanes seem like a decent pick tonight. Capitals, if you want to take a risk, maybe on the puck line. And again, it is a risk because New Jersey's 43. Also, Oilers could be worth the risk on the puck line, but it's a definite risk, and we explain why. Safest picks tonight. I'll go over the safest here in a moment, but again, just real quick review, just we're covering so many things. This game is, I'd probably stay away from this game. It's just, I'd hope that what I would hope for is that the Predators lose, because then I think we have a good read on their next game. If they win, it makes it tougher their next game because their next opponent's 42. It's just hard to call the Maple Leafs because Predators is 44, but the date numerology is right there. Avalanche, I think, have a good shot tonight. They'd be a decent payout. Minnesota Wild, 76. I'd take the puck line always just to get that safety margin just in case they lose, because then you can still win on the loss. Panthers, you know, the Panthers equals 38. Florida, 38. Stars getting that 38th win. I think that is a good one. So I don't know if I'm paranoid or it just, I feel like when I say like I really like this game, I feel like I'm jinxing it or they're really fucking with us, because NHL was like Money in the Bank for almost 2 months straight, and I was just saying those things, and now recently when I'm saying those things, the games aren't coming through. So, but the Hurricanes, they got a good riddle here. They got a good riddle. And the Stars, they got a good riddle. So, and these other games that we just talked about, you know, there's decent riddles there. There's some maybe worth it risks here. So, the 43 thing was making a lot of sense here. I think there's a number of good plays in the NHL tonight. The two that I just said above all seem to be having the most one-way street narratives. Come back to the NBA real quick, review the NBA. Review the NBA here. So 76ers has the 39 Gematria, so does Charlotte. Charlotte can get the 39th loss in Charlotte. Give the Philadelphia 76ers their 18th win. Philadelphia equals 61, 61 date numerology, 61 the 18th prime. Would keep them at 25 losses on the 25 day. Rockets are an 8-point favorite. They won the last game against Atlanta by 8 at home. The thing about today is we got the 61-18 connection. Rockets could stay at 18 away wins. Atlanta, Georgia equals 59, the 17th prime. Rockets could get their 17th away loss. Hawks also equals 17. And then with regards to the 25 date, Hawks have a chance at that 25th win. So Hawks could be worth it with the points. It's always a gamble with the Hawks, that's for sure. But they got the numbers. Bucks get the win. They get number 53. Los Angeles is 53. Lakers stay at 31 wins, the 11th prime. Bucks 11. Timberwolves have a real shot at the upset here tonight. Minnesota equals 38. They stay at 38 losses. Minnesota with the S rule is 47. Keep the Warriors at 47 wins. The Warriors' next game's against Indiana. Indiana equals 47. They could go into that game with 47 wins. Nets Kings. We're expecting the Nets to win one and lose one in their next two games. And I'm not saying in that order, but to be 37-37 because they play Sacramento and Los Angeles, two cities that equal 37. And then they go to Portland, where Portland equals 37. If the Kings win tonight, they get their 22nd win. Nets equals 13 as well as 22. And then that would give the Nets, assuming the Lakers lose tonight, Lakers would get their 40th loss. Then they would play Brooklyn, which equals 41 in their next game, in LA. LA and Brooklyn 41. So I'm thinking the Nets can give the Lakers the 41st loss. And then that would put them at 37-37, so long as they lost tonight to the Kings. Pacers, Clippers, LA equals 41. If Clippers lose, they stay at 41 wins. Clippers equals 44. If the Pacers lose, they stay at 44. We have the 61 date numerology, the 18th prime. Pacers can even up their away record at 18-18 on this 61 date. The reason I'm giving the Pacers the edge is because of this upcoming 28th loss. Their next game is against the Warriors. It'll be their 73rd game in the 73rd NBA season. And there's a relationship with 73 and 28 through the word number, which might sound stupid. But remember, Steph Curry's born on the 73rd day of the year, which is Pi Day, which is the number above all numbers. Don't forget the Warriors set the win mark at 73. So I'm just wondering if they get their 28th loss in their 73rd game against Steph Curry, you know, again, Mr. Pi Day, which is the 73rd day of the year. So I couldn't find anything else for the Pacers and Clippers looking down the road, head-to-head, nothing. So it's not a great riddle. Oh, yeah, NBA TV does equal 31, though. Clippers could get the 31st loss on NBA TV. And that means the Lakers would stay at 31 wins on NBA TV. 31 is the reflection of 13. LA's 13. Could be a little riddle there with both those games being on NBA TV tonight. But I'm favoring the 76ers. I'm saying take the points with the Hawks. The Bucks look good. Timberwolves have a shot at an upset. If the Warriors won this game and the next game over Indiana, they'd have 49 wins, and then they would go into Dallas. Dallas equals 49. But then again, if they lost here and then beat the Pacers and then beat Dallas, they'd get their 49th win against Dallas, where the city that equals 49 like Warriors. Kings and perhaps the Pacers to get it done. So Pacers are on a little losing streak. Clippers are on a little winning streak. College basketball, there's some NIT games, and I would just, well, I don't know if we should be so gung-ho with our 25 here. Temple's from Philadelphia. Okay, so these are the first four games. This isn't NIT. This isn't NIT, but these are the first four. These teams have played each other twice in history. They're 1-1 against each other. This game's on March 19th, 3/19. Prairie View A&M, the time they beat this Dickinson school, was on the 319th day of the year. That was over a decade ago. They've only played each other twice. But this team won on the 319th day of the year once upon a time. Let me just see what this True TV is all about. True TV 20. That would keep this school at 20 wins on True TV, if the network's any indicator. But I'm just thinking because they played each other once on the 319th day and they won, and now they're playing on 319. I'm favoring that. The time that this school won, it was on a date with 67 numerology, which is the 19th prime. It's 2019. The game is on the 19th. So, I mean, that riddle's there. I'm not crazy about this pick, but just the 319th day, I'm thinking there's something to that. Find out if I'm wrong soon enough. Temple's in Philadelphia. Philadelphia 61. We got the 61 date numerology. If Temple wins, they play Maryland. And if Maryland played Temple and beat them, they would be 6-4 against Temple all time. And think about it. It would be in the round of 64 teams. So that's the riddle I was digging for Temple. Belmont, there was nothing like that. That's a good point there, what you're saying, Chigozie, about the games being at, well, the first game's at 340. But there's not a 34 on the board for the teams, if I remember correctly. So I was just going off of who they would play and the history. So, and then in the NIT, there's the NIT going on today. Davidson can get, look at that. Davidson can get the 25th win and keep Lipscomb at 25 date numerology. So you can always run the gematria of the opponents and see if somebody would pick up the win. See how many points you can get on this game. This South Dakota State, Texas. I'm guessing Texas is going to be a substantial favorite, just playing in a much bigger, competitive conference than South Dakota State. But South Dakota State, the fact that they can get their 25th win on the 25 date, it's there. So I would take however many points are on the board for that. And these other games, I would run the if there's any other games you want to take a stab at, just run the gematria of the opponent and see if they can pick up the win number versus the opponent, because that's always a good sign too. But I can't spend too much more time on this because I still have a lot more work to do on the March Madness tournament, and I want to have all my ducks covered by the time we present tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. So all right, you guys, let's leave it there for now. Again, 6 p.m. Pacific, we're going to do the college tournament live stream right here, same place. And I think there are some decent picks on the board for NHL and NBA today. So yesterday ended up being about 50-50, which is not what I like to do at all. So I'm looking for vengeance today. All right, you guys, good luck. Appreciate all of you. Be back tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. See you there, True.